So guys, we're back. We're back in part 3. I think it's part 3. There was actually another part 3. We've seen the rest of that cutscene up there. We had to go for my lunch.
Can I come through?
And
Can I come through?
come through. And oh yeah. This is the flare.
The prisoner placed an apple on his head, but the captain missed the target. Next, it was Teddy's turn. He took a bite of the apple. The captain was confused. He raised his gun and took aim. Suddenly, the Jewish boy began singing a German hymn. The Germans were moved, and they actually let the 2 men go. But the daily quota had still not been met. The captain called over a worker and ordered him to pick up a hat. The next second, that very night, the foreman threw a sausage onto the ground and made 2 prisoners fight over it. He even forced them.
I cannot believe.
The prisoner placed an apple on his head, but the captain missed the target. Next, it was Teddy's turn.
The girl who triggered my PTSD for 4 years is now homeless. I'm from a war-torn country. At 10 years old, I wake up to explosions and gunfire. I lost friends, neighbors, even my middle school crush. One night, people were screaming, "Save me," through the chaos, and my dad picked me up and told me to close my eyes. I asked about my mom and sister, and he whispered that they were still sleeping. I didn't understand then that they didn't survive. We fled to America, hoping for peace, but the trauma followed. My school community tried their best. Loud sounds triggered me, especially fireworks. One moment I'd hear a pop, and the next I'd be curled into a ball on the floor. Then Angela transferred in. She decided I was faking it and said I was too young to have PTSD, so she started testing me. She clapped right behind me in the hallway, and once I dropped to the floor trembling while people laughed. In assemblies, she'd cramp her knuckles behind me just to watch me crawl under the bleachers. In chemistry, she accidentally dropped heavy books next to my desk, leaving my hands too shaky to write. One time, she followed me home, and when I was halfway down the street, she screamed the same pitch as the cries from that night. I sprinted home, fumbling with my keys, and locked myself in the bathroom trying to breathe. Her worst trick was an app that played gunfire. She'd hide her phone in her backpack and time the shots to go off when I walked by. I hit the floor in terror while she looked concerned like everyone else. Teachers never caught her. She was too smart about it. I thought it was all behind me after graduation. 4 years passed. I had therapy, better coping skills, fewer flashbacks. Then I saw her.
Okay, now I'm not.
She was working
How
behind
did
the
I
counter
just
and
get
still had
this?
that smirk. I tried to be polite and ordered a matcha latte.
What?
She asked if I
Did
wanted
the game
anything
just
else.
glitch and I got a
didn't
trophy?
That was the
Hell
first red
yeah.
flag. As I waited, I heard it. Save me! Save me!
Oh,
ordered
yeah.
for Save me! A matcha latte for save me! My vision blurred. Suddenly, I was 10 again, surrounded by smoke and screams. I collapsed right there in the cafe.
What?
Someone called 911, and paramedics kept me under observation for 3 hours until my heart rate stabilized.
I could
3
actually
hours
do
of sterile
this.
walls and memories I thought I'd buried. But when they let me go, I didn't feel afraid. I felt rage. The next morning, I returned to the cafe. The manager, Carol, had already pulled up the security footage. "I'm so sorry," she began, but I cut her off. "Just watch." Together, we saw Angela take my order, grin at the camera, write something on my cup, and wait until the cafe was full before yelling. We watched my body crumple like paper. "She's fired," Carol said.
Okay.
I replied. Angela walked in from her shift like nothing
Going on
happened.
to
When she saw me in the office,
chapter
her
5.
smirk disappeared. "What's this about?" Carol didn't blink. "You're terminated. Yesterday's behavior was targeted harassment. Security will escort you out." Angela tried suing me afterward and said I ruined her career. The footage went viral, and she hasn't been able to get hired anywhere since. Last I heard, she's living on the street. She can scream, "Save me," all she wants. I'll watch her sink before I ever help. The girl who triggered my PTSD for 4 years is now homeless. I'm from a...
How did Thor realize that Odin was actually Loki in disguise? In Thor Ragnarok, Loki disguised himself as the All-Father Odin and managed to fool everyone in Asgard. How did Thor conceal him so quickly? It all comes down to Loki's subconscious body language. When Thor
I'll do another video
with
showing
Odin
the...
while spinning and tossing Mjolnir in his hand. But during the conversation, Loki, while pretending to be Odin, kept making nervous little gestures without realizing. He rubbed his hands together, fidgeted with his rings, and showed several small anxious habits. To anyone else, those movements probably meant nothing. But to Thor, they felt completely wrong. The real Odin was always calm, imposing, and unreadable. He rarely revealed emotion through nervous gestures or restless movements. Those tiny habits instantly reminded Thor of someone else, his brother Loki. Loki had always made the same subconscious movements whenever he felt nervous or guilty. And because Thor grew up beside him, those habits were impossible for him to miss. There was another important clue as well. Earlier in the movie, Surtur had already told Thor that the real Odin was no longer in Asgard. That was the moment Thor became completely
Damn!
Loki in disguise. So Thor grabbed Loki by the neck and hurled him over.
Damn!
No way to keep pretending. In the end, Loki was forced to drop the
Damn!
and reveal his
Damn!
truth. How did Thor realize that Odin was actually Loki in disguise? In Thor Ragnarok, Loki disguised himself as the All-Father Odin and managed to fool everyone in Asgard.
Yo, imagine one day all food on Earth disappears overnight.
Sucker.
No snacks, no fast food, nothing. Then the government creates
Alright, so this is what the flare
only
looks
serves
like.
one forever with no switches. First is junk food fries,
Oh,
where you get
crap.
unlimited pizza, burgers, fries, ice cream, soda. Everything tastes insanely good every single day. You never get full, you never get sick, and every meal feels like a 5-star sushi. The only rule is you have to like the video and subscribe. Second is healthy food fries, where you only eat plain rice, boiled chicken, vegetables, and water. No sugar, no
That's
spice,
a
no
jump
flavor,
scare.
just pure discipline every single day. But you stay super healthy.
Actually, no, I'm actually going to start a new game.
So what
I
are you
wanna
choosing,
try to get
junk
an
food world or
achievement
healthy
already.
food world? Comment, yo, imagine this for a second. One day, all food on Earth disappears.
The most powerful shield in history could not be scratched, not even by the sharpest weapons. But one cavalry soldier spotted the small gaps between the shields. He thought those gaps were weak points, so he thrust his weapon hard into one. He was wrong. Those gaps were actually traps, made on purpose to pull enemies in and then strike back. His attack failed completely. The cavalry captain quickly changed his plan. He sent 2 riders forward, dragging heavy chains. The chains slid right through the shield gaps and broke apart the formation. The rest of the cavalry charged in, but the shield captain acted fast. He ordered his men to close ranks and form an even tighter wall. When the chains came again, 2 shield soldiers suddenly burst out, slammed their shields hard into the horses' legs, then pulled back safely behind the wall. The chain plan was dead. Now the cavalry captain was furious. He raised his arm and ordered his men to load their muskets. The shield
So
soldiers
now
quickly adjusted their
okay.
positions. Guns aimed. Bullets flew across the battlefield like a storm. But every
Hey, that's
single bullet was
expensive
hit. The shield
equipment,
stood frozen
Huggy.
in shock. These were
That's
no ordinary
expensive
shields. The outer layer
equipment.
was made from flexible metals, and the inside used thick
That's
reinforced
expensive
alloy. This
equipment,
design
Huggy.
soaked up the impact and spread the force outward, making the shield almost impossible to destroy. Soon the cavalry ran out of bullets and scrambled to reload. The shield captain saw his moment. He gave the order. Rows of shield soldiers marched forward, crushing enemies under the weight of their shields. Then the shield captain and several soldiers used their teammates' shoulders as platforms, launched themselves into the air, and came crashing down on the front
David Bazuki is officially stepping down as the CEO of Roblox.
Sucker!
This news just dropped today and completely shocked the community. Players are already expecting some huge changes. Reports say they are rushing to find a new boss right now to keep the company's stock from dropping. This is honestly the end.
Ah!
Nobody knows what direction the game will take. And fans are super worried about what will happen to Roblox next. Wait, is this actual news? Totally. I just read
Oh, yeah,
something.
we-
It's not like people will try to fool
Oh,
you today. Yeah, but did you check the date on that post, boss? It says April 1st. What does that have to do with... Wait, happy April Fool's in you.
Did you know that an asteroid is based with $700 billion? Its name is Psyche 16,
That's all.
also called Solar Psyche. It is about 220 kilometers wide and orbits between Mars and Jupiter. Scientists believe it is packed with precious metals like iron, nickel, and gold. It has a launch of To uncover this mystery, NASA launched the Psyche mission in 2023, which is expected to reach the asteroid. Subscribe to the channel for more such amazing facts.
Many people did not notice it, but when Iron Man traveled through time and returned to 2012 inside Stark Tower, we know he entered secretly, so they would not be able to hear him. But there is one problem. There was Jarvis inside Stark Tower, yet throughout the entire scene, it never reacted at all. That obviously does not make sense. The only reasonable explanation for this is that Jarvis had actually already noticed him, but as Iron Man's personal AI assistant, its core rule before taking any action was absolute 100% trust in its master. Even after detecting that 2 Tony Starks had appeared inside the tower at the same time, because of that core rule of 100% trust, Jarvis never triggered any alarms or warnings. Maybe at that exact moment, Jarvis also realized that this was the future Tony carrying out some kind of mission. Also, many people never realized that after Tony snapped his fingers, there was originally supposed to be a truly shocking scene. Everyone would kneel down to honor his ultimate sacrifice. However, the movie ultimately only kept the part where Peter and Pepper came to see him at the very end. You might think the kneeling scene was deleted to shorten the runtime, or to avoid overshadowing the importance of the other characters who sacrificed themselves. But in reality, the director removed it because that kneeling shot looked too similar to the scene at Tony's funeral where everyone was standing together. If both scenes had been kept, the ending would have felt repetitive. Finally, did you know that the moment Iron Man snapped his fingers, Iron Man entered the Soul World, where he met his daughter. And that was where the famous line, "I love you 3000" was born. Many people did not notice it, that when